This is Grunt to Groan, sales lessons learned from professional wrestling. Coming to you from the fabulous Delaware Wrestling Thunderdome, I'm your host, Benjamin Burrows.
I am one voice that stands alone. I am one choice to man the throne. Stand guard and take shots, give it all I got. All I got is this microphone.
Well, hello and welcome to Grunt to Groan, sales lessons learned from professional wrestling. I'm your host, Benjamin Burrows, and it is a great day to be out selling your products and selling your services, for you are the great American thunder on which this nation rolls, because nothing happens, and I mean nothing happens, until something is sold, until you get out there and you sell it. This is episode number 69. I want to thank my producer, Dave the Ray, for hanging and banging with me on this. Dave has been with me year after year after year, now decade after decade after decade, so thank you so much, Dave the Ray, my good friend and partner. I want to thank our show prep team, Audie Jenkins and Gunnar Haskins, for putting this episode of the podcast together, and I want to thank Sonny Thunder and the Sons of Thunder for allowing us to bring you this podcast week after week after week from the fabulous Delaware Wrestling Thunderdome. And I want to thank you for taking time out of your busy day to download and listen to the podcast, Grunt to Groan, Sales Lessons Learned from Professional Wrestling. And you can download and listen to this podcast on great platforms like Spotify, Anchor FM, YouTube, and Podbean. So thank you guys so very much for taking time out of your day to listen to the podcast. Again, this is episode number 69, and it's entitled Partnering Superstar Brands. Now, when you think about it as a sales professional or a business professional, your brand is a superstar brand. And if you haven't reached the level of a superstar brand, then one of your goals in 2021 should be to start to move your brand from good to great, from great to greater, and then from greater to greatest. And that's what we're going to talk about over the next 3 podcasts. We're going to do a small series here on partnering superstar brands together. How do you take your superstar brand, partner it with a superstar brand in a product or service that you offer, and go from superstar to iconic? Now, this is not a new idea. This is an idea that I read about many years ago in a book written by Stephen Jones entitled Brand Like a Rock Star. Now, I have probably purchased 50 of these books, and I've probably given away 50 of these books. Brand Like a Rock Star by Stephen Jones. And in this book, Stephen Jones talks about how important it is to partner superstar brands together to create iconic legacies. Now, the example that Stephen Jones used is outside of professional wrestling, and we're going to get to professional wrestling in just a moment. But Stephen Jones referenced a musical group that was on its way up in the musical universe and a superstar music group that was on its way down in the musical universe. And how when they came together, they created something that is so iconic that both groups will be remembered for it for the rest of their careers and beyond. Now, I'm talking about Run DMC and Aerosmith and the song Walk This Way. Now, Run DMC was a new and developing group in a new and developing genre of rap. And Aerosmith was a superstar group that was kind of on the back end of their career when the idea to mix the two together happened. And both groups were hesitant, but they saw the potential in taking their superstar brands, Run DMC and Aerosmith, blending them together and creating something so iconic that it would help land both of them into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. You see, the example of Run DMC and Aerosmith is how to take your superstar brand and go from superstar to iconic. It re-energized Aerosmith. It regenerated their career. And of course, Run DMC, well, you know the musical historical value to what they've done. So as a sales or business professional, are you taking advantage of your superstar brand and partnering it with the superstar brands that you represent and creating something iconic? That's your challenge this week. It'll be your challenge through 2021. Now, we saw this just last week. Two superstar brands coming together for something iconic last week in the world of professional wrestling. NBC Universal announced that they were partnering with the WWE on a 5-year contract worth $1 billion to bring WWE programming to the Peacock, the streaming service, the Peacock. NBC Universal CEO Jeff Sell said last week in a shareholders meeting that WWE programming is a perfect property for his company. Sell announced that he and Vince McMahon came to terms on a deal to fold the WWE network into NBC Universal's Peacock streaming service. Again, a deal valued at right around $1 billion. Sell said that WWE is a kind of perfect property for us. He said the streaming deal includes thousands of hours of programming that were behind a paywall that will now be put up as a free service on Peacock. The WWE, a superstar brand in professional wrestling, and NBC Universal, a superstar brand in entertainment, coming together to do something iconic. Now, as a professional wrestling fan, this is pretty exciting. I get the Peacock streaming service. So this is pretty exciting now that all of this WWE programming is going to be opened up for me to be able to view. And I'm excited about it. And I've talked with other business professionals since this was announced last Thursday, and they're excited about this as well. It opens up so many opportunities for professional wrestling fans to view WWE product and for the world of professional wrestling to expand its viewership even more. So Run DMC and Aerosmith partner together and create something iconic. NBC Universal and the WWE partner together and create something iconic. How are you leveraging your superstar brand today with other superstar brands to create something iconic? You know, we love to sell. And sometimes we get so wrapped up in the products that we represent or the services that we represent that we fail to recognize just how powerful our own brand is. When I talk with sales professionals across the country about their personal brand Not the brand of the products they represent, not the brand of the services they represent, not the brand of the company they work for, but their personal brand. And a lot of them are confused at what I'm asking. You know, you have a story to tell as a sales or business professional. You have a story that is significant, that is obviously successful, and a story with historical value. How are you positioning that story? How are you positioning your brand? And then are you taking your brand and partnering it with the superstar brands that you represent? Because the brands and the services you represent, they have a story to tell. And that story has significance. And it's been successful. And it has historical value. You know, we all get into sales and we all get into business to make money. But you know, when you jump past that, when you get past that, we're in this to be successful, to be significant, to bring historical value. So if you're looking for a way in 2021 to get more sales, to go from good to great, from great to greater, from greater to greatest, then concentrate on your superstar brand and concentrate on partnering your superstar brand with the superstar brands that you represent. You will have a great 2021 if you concentrate on this. Now, this is the first part in a 3-part series. We'll bring part number 2 in our next episode, part number 3 in episode number 71. So have a great sales week out there. And remember, you are the great American thunder on which this nation rolls, because nothing happens until something is sold, until you get out there and you sell it. So quit listening to me and get out there and sell something.
I am one voice that stands alone. I am one choice to man the throne. Stand guard and take shots, give it all I got. All I got is this microphone. I am my thoughts, my skill displayed.